Terry, before we get into anything really specific on Mickey Callaway, we need to get into the important stuff, and that's that you beat him in the most handsome manager rankings. He was pretty devastated by that on our set. Did you crush him for it?
Yeah, a couple things. One, who's doing the voting? And two, yeah, our whole entire suite was killing him. I mean, I'm on good days probably one step ahead of being comatose. And Mickey prides himself on, so yeah, it was devastating for him. And that is one of those things that he will be reminded of until I can't do it anymore, because I know it's killing him, as it should. Aside
from the fact that he's clearly not one of the better looking managers in the game, what are the Mets getting in him as a manager?
You know what? They're getting a star. I mean, this is a guy that I didn't even know when I came to the Indians. We interviewed him. He interviewed off the charts. He got the job. And then a couple years later, you feel like you're brothers. And that's a good feeling. And that can only happen when guys are really good at what they do. And Mickey, I mean, I leaned on him so much. He is going to be really, really good at whatever he wants to do, whether it's a National League manager or a pitching coach. But the Mets got a good one.
Is there any specific trait that you look at and you say, this is really going to translate well from pitching coach to the head guy, to the manager?
Well, I think it's his confidence. And it's not just, I don't mean the outward bravado. He's confident for a reason, because he's prepared. And he knows how to communicate with players, whether it's sometimes delivering a tough message or a pat on the back, but he understands how important it is. But he just exudes that confidence. And like I said, it comes from being prepared.
Is that something that he really does have the capabilities of doing? You talk about sometimes coming down on a player if they have to be spoken to in that way. His opening press conference, he talked a lot about caring about the player, but this week has kind of walked that back, saying sometimes that's being tough with them as well. He has that in him.
That's what caring is. I mean, caring about a player sometimes is having a tough conversation. And it's like I said, it's because you care, not because you don't. It's easy to pat somebody on the back, but when you really truly care, sometimes you gotta, like I said, have a conversation that's a little uncomfortable.
What's the best piece of advice you think you gave him during this process?
I don't know that I did. I think just being his friend. I mean, we've lived through everything for 5 years, so he knows how I feel about everything. I just told him to be himself, because I knew that was plenty good. I mean, and obviously he did a great job when he went up there. He knocked their socks off, and I don't think any of us were surprised one bit.
Did you talk to him at all about what it's like to manage in a big market, you having obviously had experience in that regard as well?
You know what? He's okay. Mickey enjoys talking to people. I don't care whether it's a big market, small market. If you treat people like you're supposed to, you're going to be just fine.
Finally, Terry, I know that the Mets made a move signing Anthony Swarzak, and you had him a couple of years ago in Cleveland. He made a switch when he was with you guys, going from 3-4 pitches to really just focusing on 2. How much of that was Mickey, and how much of that do you think has contributed to the success he's had recently?
It's interesting, because when we had him, we were really excited to get him, and it didn't go like we wanted to, and we had to let him go. And then facing him last year, we're like, man, because he's blowing. And it's a good sign, because he's resilient. You go back and look at his innings pitched. He's, as a reliever, he's thrown over 90. He can answer the bell every day, and he's throwing hard and being effective. That's a good sign.